All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Monday, January 17th City Council meeting via Zoom. Clerk, can you please call the roll?
Sure. Good evening. Alderman Santee.
Here.
Alderman Glad.
Here.
Alderman McClatchy.
Here.
Alderman Harding.
Here.
Alderman Strack.
Here.
Alderman Devine.
Here.
And Alderwoman Miller is absent.
Thank you. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which
stands one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started with public comment. This portion of public comment is for those that would like to make a public comment that are for items that are not on the agenda this evening. So if you'd like to make a public comment, please either raise your hand or unmute yourself, and we'll go ahead and call you your name to go ahead and speak on the floor at that time. Last chance for public comment. All right, see none. Moving to consent agenda, items 5A through 5F. Is there any items wanting to be pulled for separate consideration? Alderman Santee.
Pull item 5B and 5C, please.
Okay, anyone else? All right. Consent agenda items 5A, D through F. I'm looking for a motion to approve. Alderman Santee.
I will make that motion for items 5A and D through F as presented.
Thank you. Second. Alderman McClatchy.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Discussion on those items? See none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Glad.
Yes.
Alderman Harding.
Yes.
Alderman Strack.
Yes.
Alderman Devine.
Yes.
Thank you, Council. Item pulled by Alderman Santee, 5B, is a resolution adopting regulations relating to the collection of the amusement push tax imposed upon the playing of a video gaming terminal within the city of McHenry. I know David McCarroll's been working on this, but Alderman Santee, go ahead. The floor is yours. Just,
Dave, I just want to understand it's an item without a supplement. So is there a time? Please help me understand it. I just want to understand if there's a length or a date that will be attached to this.
Right. So we imposed the push tax back in late October or so, and because of the initial delay in collecting it was due to the immediacy of the adoption of the law that was imposed on us. We adopted this on a Sunday, if you remember.
Halloween.
And so
trick or treat.
Right after we began collection of this, I think it was early December, we received pushback from some of the operators that there wasn't time for them to implement collection measures, although some made some attempt at it. We agreed that, maybe more time was needed. And so and we don't know how much time will be needed, frankly, because there's 2 lawsuits pending. We're monitoring those a little bit through the IML, and we just need more time to determine what the reasonable collection effort would mean in our world. And so we thought it best to adopt this resolution, giving the mayor month-to-month authority to extend that abatement, we're calling it, and the collection in his discretion. And we can report back to you every month, of course, or we can bring it back to you on an agenda. I just don't know that we'll know. I'm not sure when we'll know, but we're working on it as we go. And we're monitoring the IML correspondence on this as well.
Okay. So then can we look at this just as, can we put in there someone that we get a month-to-month update, or because maybe something happens in the middle of February and we can move forward hypothetically, but can we have something like that attached to this where it's at least updated monthly for us?
Yeah, so the last line says the city authorizes the mayor to abate collection and remittance of the push tax from time to time in writing. And I can, add a sentence after that. And the mayor shall report back to the city council on a monthly basis as to the status.
Okay, thank you. I'm very comfortable with that. And I will make the motion to then support this as presented. Okay.
Before you do that, it was my responsibility, I suppose, to do the supplement. I don't think village attorneys are very good at doing supplements. I mean, we work on this stuff through the various staff, and it wasn't just Derek. There was various staff, and they're still involved. And it's just lame on our part to anything that goes through the staff. Derek's all over it, getting supplements out. It gets mixed up when it gets in our office. So I'll take that.
Okay, no, I do appreciate that. I just wanted to understand it when I saw no supplement. I pretty much knew what we were doing here. I just wanted to put some kind of timetable on it, which if you're comfortable with doing that, I just would like to, have an update.
The mayor shall update the city council on a monthly basis regarding this.
Okay, and that's the motion I will make.
Thank you. Is there a second by the council? Alderman Strack?
I'll second with Alderman Sante's changes that Attorney McCardle has documented.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments regarding this item by city council? If so, I'd ask that you'd speak up because I can't see everybody on this. I got a new iPad and it's not working out so well, so I'm gonna have to so just speak up if you don't mind. But I see none at this time. So clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee?
Yes.
Alderman Strack?
Yes.
Alderman Devine?
Yes.
Alderman Harding?
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy?
Yes.
Alderman Glad?
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item was pulled by Alderman Santee as well as 5C, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 21-22 Parks Development developer budget in the amount of $61,152 and to approve a quote with W.M. Tunyon and Sons in the amount of $237,152 for the repair and renovation of the horse barn on the Colby Peterson farm. Alderman Santee, you want to go ahead and start it off?
Guess if I may, and maybe Phil, and if there's constituents or citizens that want to comment or have some questions, so be it. But I just want to understand that we're doing this. I know through something that we can't control, Mother Nature. There's definitely more damage to that barn. I understand it. I see the pictures. I have spoken to people in regards to them eyeballing it. I haven't been out there in a couple of years. That being said, is this, and I appreciate William Tunyon stepping to the plate with this. Are we looking more, I guess I'll go to you, Bill, first. Are we looking more towards a repair or is this a restoration? And how do we try to piece this together?
I think it's actually shifted probably more towards a repair versus a historically accurate recreation. We're not a restoration. We're not, we had gone through an RFQ process last December to identify barn restoration builders. We had identified one, entered into a contract negotiation phase. That contractor ultimately dropped out. He was the only one that was a barn restorer. He dropped out, refused to submit, dropped out, and then unfortunately we had the weather incident come through, and that actually shifted the entire structure. So we have shifted our focus more towards keeping the structure upright and repairing the foundation, repairing the structure itself. Will there be some, restoration? Yeah, we'll have to decide on what some of those materials are, particularly roofing material. The roof is not included in the contract that's before you. We need to get the building squared back up. It has, do I think it's going to fall down tomorrow? I don't. But it certainly has shifted since that storm event back in September. So obviously it was a long process with insurance and trying to get that figured out, but it has shifted. To answer, the short answer is it's shifted more towards repair versus a restoration.
Okay, and the one other comment I have before, if any other comments from council or citizens, I just want to understand that if if we move forward tonight on this, is there some kind of timetable? Because, you know, when you always look at March and April, let's face facts, storm season, thunderstorms, wind, you know, what are we looking at here in regards to, are we under crunch time here, or where are we at?
I can't begin to forecast anything on that. I can tell you that it has shifted probably an inch, maybe 2 inches since the storm in September. I'm not going to say personally what I think if it's going to fall or not fall. I don't know. If another storm comes through, it certainly would be in danger but it's been there for a long time. But who knows? Who knows if we could find a barn contractor, since the last gentleman dropped out and had expressed that he couldn't even put us on his schedule for at least a year. So it's finding somebody and then finding somebody that can actually do the work if we choose to wait.
Thank you.
Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that I do not particularly care handing out contracts without getting more proposals and whatnot. But I can understand in this situation, and it is a very delicate situation, I sure wouldn't want to lose that barn. And I sure wouldn't want to have to see probably cost us twice as much to try to reconstruct what's there if it had to go back up. So I can understand the expediency. Sure, I'd like to have it done in the next 3 or 4 weeks, but it isn't going to happen in that quick a time. And the sooner that we get going on this, the sooner that we're probably safer.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments by council? See none. Can I get a motion and a second for 5C as presented? Alderman McClatchy?
I'll make a motion to approve 5C.
Okay, second.
Alderman Glad.
Alderman Glad. Yep. Alderman Glad, go ahead. Thank you. I know I'll go ahead and open it up for public comment. I know Jeff Vard is on here and had his hand raised. Jeff, if you want to go ahead.
Okay, thanks. First of all, I would like to say, I mean, you know, representing the Landmark Commission, that, you know, Bill and the Park District had this thing rolling, you know, downhill. We thought everybody was excited, and then COVID and the weather incident put us in this situation. When I first saw the packet, my first question was the same question that Vic had, which was, you know, was this a shoring up project or was it the restoration project? And so Bill's answered that, and I think he's right on topic, that we're going to have, it has to be solidified before it can be restored. But in reading through the packet, and in your packet, there was all the pictures, I believe, were from Anderson Architecture, who was the architect recommended by the original group that was going to do the restoration that dropped out. There were a couple things. One was in terms of the foundation, and obviously the foundation is fundamental to getting this thing shored up. But their recommendation was the concrete foundation. The stone foundation can be done, but it does require specialty people who may or may not be ever available, and the cost may or not be within anyone's budget. But having said that, their recommendation was fine, put in the concrete foundation, but also put in a shelf, and then we can replace the boulders or some of the boulders from that stone foundation. So it has the appearance, even though it has a concrete foundation and no longer a stone foundation, it has its original appearance. This is the construction on the horse barn was 1871, so, you know, that, I mean, all things being, you know, if wishes were whatever the saying is, it would be nice to be able to do that. But I get it. It's a long lost art, but it's still an example of a long lost art. And so that was one thing that I saw. I didn't see in the Tunyon thing, the shelf with replacing the boulders, so it would have its original appearance from the outside. The other was in the Tunyon bid. It mentioned, I think, $8,000 for doors and windows, but did not mention materials or any specifications. So, you know, again, from the Landmark perspective, we would like to see, of course, it being historically as accurate as possible. You guys have to make that decision on what you can do and what you can't do. But so I don't know from the bid or from what I saw in the packet from Tunyon Construction, what was going to happen with the windows and doors. We have pictures of the original doors. They're, you know, the kind of wooden doors that you would expect to see on an 1871 building. We have since already put in a mechanical door in the front that's pretty much been kind of crushed. So, so those are the things. And the last thing that I'm going to mention is, and Bill's been specific to say that the roof will come after the building's been shored up, is that a lot of the damage that you saw in the pictures was water damage. And that's from the roof. So that also, I think, has a time element to it. The longer that the roof doesn't get repaired, you know, we'll just continue to accrue damage on the inside of the barn. And so I think that's it. Thanks to Bill and the Park District for the work they've done.
Thank you, Jeff. Is there any other public comment regarding this item? Alderman Glab, go ahead. You're on mute.
Mike, Alderman Glab, thanks.
Yes, I got it. Okay. No. I think more than anything else, I'm sure Bill will be talking to the Landmark Commission, and maybe you just make sure that some of their reservations, that things are looked at, and if there is a issue as far as more money or whatever, bring it back to the council. Let's look at it. Let's make sure we do it right. And I think that we should up that a little bit down in the very near future before things get underway too much. I think that roof at least needs to be inspected. You hate to have to spend all that money underneath and then find out that you've got some major problems above that could, you know, that you don't know about until part of that roof is torn off. So needless to say, I'd sure like to know a little bit more about where the roof is before they get started too deep into the restoration of the rest of the building.
I'll just add that we know that roof's in bad shape, and it's probably going to be a complete tear off. There's nothing salvageable about that roof at this point. So that's what we're planning on. A number of the rafters and joists underneath that will have to be replaced as well. So shoring that up, squaring it up, and then deciding what that roof ultimately will be. But it'll have to be a complete tear off and redo.
Okay. Like I said, I'd like to see that coming back to council in a short period of time so that we continue to move forward with this. We don't want to have a lag time of 6-8 months or a year before by the time council approves it, by the time we go out and get bids or proposals, whatever. You know, let's keep the ball rolling is what I'm saying.
Bill, do you have a time frame on it for the roof?
It really depends on the restoration work.
Okay.
Again, they'll open it up so they can straighten things up, and that'll be part of the tear off. And the worst case would be, again, this is a extremely short term. I know what we watched for the last year and a half while we were trying to figure on a restoration expert was the tarp. That would be an extremely short term. We're already sourcing some quotes for roofing, and I've also asked Tunyon to also provide us some roof quotes as well as part of that. So Alderman Glab, that's in the works right now, and I would anticipate at the latest to have something before City Council. I would hope by the second meeting in February.
Great.
And that'll have to be a budget amendment too, right, Bill?
Yes.
Yeah.
The only other thing that could happen would be if we know what the construction time frame is, and let's just say it's a 2-month construction time frame. And then we just budget that for, May 1st and do the roof in that fiscal year. That's the only other option. So I'm waiting to see what a time for, obviously we had to get it approved this evening. Once that happens, we'll have a pre-construction meeting with Tunyon, we've already met out there, but officially we'll kick off that project, see what their time frame is, where their quote comes in at versus we'll get some independent quotes as well, Alderman Glab and council members. So we won't accept that one, but we'll get other additional roofing quotes and present those.
Thank you, Bo. Any other city council comments? See none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Glab.
Yeah.
It's okay. Alderman Santee.
Yes.
Alderman Strack.
Yes.
Alderman Devine.
Yes.
Alderman Harding.
Yes.
All right, thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is 6A, is a motion to approve a Class A liquor license to the Vixen located at 1208 North Green Street and to pass an ordinance amending Title 4, Chapter 2, Alcoholic Liquor, Section 6, License, Classification, and Fees, approval of authority, limitation on number of licenses pending the successful completion of background checks. The background checks, as far as I've heard recently, Chief, are you on here? Have those all been completed and are good to go?
Yeah, the background check was completed as of Friday, and it was a green light. We have no issues.
Thank you. So I'll kind of give you the background of what's going on at the theater. Obviously, you know my involvement in the past, and I'd like to just give you some insight of my involvement in the future here. Mike Sullivan, who's on here, is the new managing member of the LLC. It is still the McHenry Downtown Indoor Theater, DBA, the Vixen. I am going to be participating in helping getting this project completed. My name is now off of the McHenry Downtown Indoor Theater altogether, but I am dedicated to helping the investors get this property completed here in the next 3 to 4 months, hopefully sooner. But I wanted to explain that. I know there's been always my involvement in the theater, so I wanted to make sure you all are aware that I am off all documents of the McHenry Downtown Indoor Theater LLC, the Vixen. So go ahead and ask for a motion in a second on item 6A as presented. Alderman Santee.
I will make the motion on item 6A for the Class A liquor license for the Vixen located at 1208 North Green Street. An ordinance to pass the ordinance amending Title 4, Chapter 2 of the Alcohol Liquor, Section 6, Licensing Clarification Fees, approval authority limitation to the number of licenses pending successful completion of all background checks, which I guess was just confirmed by the chief as presented.
Thank you. Alderman Strack.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion on this item by council.
Mayor.
Yes, go ahead, Alderman Glenn.
Yeah, I'd like to refer to State Statute 235 ILCS 5. Mayor, you say you have no interest in the movie theater. You have no interest in the Vixen. However, it's on here on the agenda, the fact that in the packet that Amber Jett, who is your wife, is a shareholder of 11 point whatever percentage. That does make you a conflict as far as financial interest in the liquor license. In the state of Illinois, it is a 50-50 for husband and wife on everything and anything that they own. So therefore, you do still have an interest in the building or in the business. And according to state statutes, then you need to relinquish your liquor license, or I'm sorry, your liquor commissioner position, and the city council needs to take in a short period of time, take and appoint somebody. And it pretty much spells it out there, right there, as far as what needs to be done.
David, I want to go ahead and.
I don't know what you're citing there, but the bottom line is if you're citing the interest in contract statute, I was already asked this last week, and a liquor license is not a contract with the city. That's my position. So unless there's a contract with someone with a direct or indirect financial interest, it's not applicable. But I don't know what you're citing to. I have no idea.
No, David, that isn't what we're talking about. What we're talking about more than anything else is it specifically states in the state statutes that the mayor of a town under 50,000 is the liquor commissioner. However, if they have any interest in the sale or in sales, production, manufacturing, whatsoever in the liquor, that they have to step down, and the council needs to appoint an attorney as a
substitute.
Yeah, up until the time of the mayor's. I mean, if you like,
let's make it simple. If that's what's required, that's what we'll do.
Okay.
So I don't know what statute you're citing to, but
Chief,
if that's the rule, then that's what we'll do. We don't have to do it tonight. Tonight's the issue of the permit. But if tomorrow we look at this and there's an issue, then we will make that substitution, because I think we did this. I can't remember.
The hub market.
We had a liquor hearing. And
I brought it up at the hub market, and your underling Cook and Kelly had said that there was no conflict if it's a husband and wife. But
I know, but that wait, you're mixing up apples and oranges. I asked you if it was an interest in contracts, which is what you just stated, and you said no, it was a liquor license law. Those are two different statutes.
Okay.
So I'm familiar with the interest in contracts, which is what my underling said. But the liquor code is what you seem to be quoting, because that's 235. So my point is, I'll look at it, and if there's an issue, we're not going to quabble over it. We'll get a liquor commissioner.
That's fine.
Chief, the chief might have something on this because he's involved in these liquor things as well.
Yeah, if I could just add, there's nowhere in the Liquor Control Act that talks about husband and wife. So that is a contractual issue, Alderman Glab. So he technically does not have any stake or ownership in that company. But in the event that there even wasn't a perception of that, our local city ordinance was amended a couple of years back that clearly states that if there is a conflict of interest on a liquor proceeding or a hearing an issue with somebody that has a liquor license, that the mayor would step aside as a liquor commissioner for that particular matter, and the city administrator would handle the affairs. And city council passed that. I'd have to look it up to see the actual date, but that was brought before council and passed a couple of years
and that was probably when that issue came up about the conflict, when what I was referring to.
That doesn't negate state statute. We still have to follow state statute, and if our ordinance doesn't follow the state statute, then maybe we need to change the ordinance. But again, if the mayor has any financial interest, and if his wife is part owner, then she does have a financial interest.
No, you're crossing over paths again.
No. It's not crossing over paths. You're using an attorney's technique, and I'm sorry, David, but it's simple and easy. It's simple and easy. If the wife owns something, the husband owns something. So therefore, if the mayor owns something, then the mayor owns it as well.
That's not necessarily true.
There are no other contracts or anything else that can
We're not going to debate this now. You're bringing up a cold point. We'll address it.
Okay.
If it's a problem, we will take care of it. I guarantee it. We're not going to let a conflict go forward without dealing with the conflict. You're just bringing it up. So it doesn't do any good to beat the thing back and forth when we don't have the law in front of us.
All right.
So I will get it. I'll get it done.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions by council regarding this item?
Alderman Santi.
Yeah.
Alderman Santi,
Thank you. No, an actual question concerning this new liquor license and the location. So I guess, okay, and I guess this is just something a statement for staff is that, and the chief, I mean, I don't know how it's going to be arranged, but I know you guys have to go through the permitting and check things out, but you guys have to just keep an eye out on how are we presenting liquor into this section of the building. I know there's popcorn machines and candy over there, but at some point the liquor has to be distributed, and how is that going to be distributed?
There's an existing bar in that location right now, and it was being serviced by DC Cobb's under their liquor license, which the state approved. So there'll be just a separation there, DC Cobb's, and I believe, from what I understand, though, that bar will either be expanded on, or there'll be more than one actual physical bar where alcohol will be served at that location, just like any other Class A liquor license establishment.
Thank you. Yeah, because I believe I might have seen that once, but yeah, it looked like a temporary type of rolling. I would assume that there's going to be something done more of a permanent style, so it can service correctly, it can operate correctly, and I just telling staff to make sure that we get things done on that, and so it's running as efficiently as possible. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, I know you're on here. You want to go ahead and kind of give a little insight on what we're doing with the theater?
Yeah, absolutely. I will state that the bar that's currently there, that is the DC Cobb's bar, is a permanent structure. It was a permanent structure until we had that removed. We did have obviously all the efficiency that we could with that bar, and it actually functioned very properly. So our plan here is that we will have, with the live event space, a functioning bar for all the patrons coming in for live events that they can access easily through a ramp if they're attending any of these live events. And there's also going to be a front functioning bar that could service people, pedestrians that are walking off the street, or if they want to attend that bar as well. So it will run as efficiently as possible. And we have recently hired an experienced manager who is going to be tasked with staffing the entire place and making sure that obviously all rules are followed correctly. She has the experience and the know-how, and making sure that everything is operating smoothly.
Thank you. So this building is fully getting remodeled. The entire front popcorn machine will not stay there. No pretzel warmer out there. This is a bourbon whiskey bar in the front with a stage for almost like a Nashville feel, with the roll open garage doors in the front. The back will have a bar that will, like he said, service the patrons that are attending the live events. And we're looking to install a mezzanine that will also fit 100 people on the second floor, overlooking the stage area. So
thank you.
What is the capacity of the total building, or not the total building, but the total area that you will be taking?
Ross, I don't know if you can answer that, but we're still working on the mezzanine. So it all depends on the size of the mezzanine, the structure of the mezzanine, and so forth. But Ross, do you have any insight on that?
Yeah,
just approximate.
It's all dictated by the building code, obviously, and it is a sprinklered building, so they can maximize. But I would say you're going to be anywhere between 300 and 400, probably.
All right, thank you.
But I don't think you'll ever get that many in there, Alderman Glab. So I mean,
you never know.
Right, but
so yeah, so Gillespie gave us some numbers. It was right around the 500 to 550 mark max.
We'll double check though.
So we'll go through it.
We do, and to Alderman Santi's point, health department approvals for the liquor licenses, the bar, all of that has to be done, so that those will not be sidestepped by any means.
Thank you.
So that means if we're talking that type of quantity of people that come in, how often would that happen? I mean, as far as having those type of things, I mean, you're going to be talking about taking up all the parking anywhere near the downtown area, and what's that going to do for the other businesses?
Well, if I may interject here momentarily, I think what we're talking about right now is doing a better job of making sure that we maximize the knowledge of everyone in the area where parking is available. I think a lot of times you have residents who are forgetting about parking behind the theater. in other areas across the theater and whatnot. But it also, I'm going to be working with Uber to see if I can get sort of a discount for anyone that's going to be commuting to and from the theater. They obviously can log that with their technology and give anyone a discount that's coming to and from the theater. If we are saying that we are, going to offer up Uber as the recommended share provider for the area, and they get a discount. So it'll hopefully minimize a bit of that traffic as well, and obviously increase safety as well.
And you also got to remember, we had about 340 seats already in the theater. And there was times in the movie theater business where they were all full. And there was never issues with parking at those times, especially when Star Wars and all that. I mean, people find places to park, but I get
people are learning about the public spaces across the street too. I think people are getting used to that being available. And while we have seen it mostly full at times, I don't think it's ever been an issue where you couldn't find parking across there.
Alderman Glab, anything else?
No, that's all I've got.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions, comments by council? All right. Any public comment regarding this item? I see none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee,
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Devine,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glab.
No.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda, 6B, is based on approval of agenda item 6A, a motion to approve the issuance of a video gaming license to the Vixen located at 1208 North Green Street for 3 video gaming terminals. I'm looking for a motion and a second for that item. Alderman Santee.
I'll make the motion as presented for 6B.
Thank you. Alderman McClatchy.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Open it up for comments by council. Alderman Glenn.
Yeah. All right. It's 3 video gaming terminals, and there was a wall and everything else that you have to build, correct? Okay.
Yes. Yep. Any other questions by council? Open it up for public comment regarding from the public. Is there any public comment? See none. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman Santee,
Yes.
Alderman McClatchy,
Yes.
Alderman Glab,
Yes.
Alderman Harding,
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Devine.
Yes.
Thank you, council. Next item on the agenda is discussion items. 7A is implementation of existing honorary street sign policy. Troy, you want to go ahead and get us started on this?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So by now, all of you have attended or deliberated on a few discussions regarding honorary street signs, whether they be committee level or council. And in short, our challenge is, back when the honorary sign policy was first approved, the signs were, the policy reads, and it's attached, as the 2005 policy is attached to the supplement, that the signs are to remain up in perpetuity. So that was 15 years ago, and we've got about 30 applications or honorary signs that are up there. The issue is a lot of applications tend to apply for the same location. Some, there's a handful of streets in town that are fairly notable: Green Street, Riverside, Main Street, and everybody tends to apply for those locations. We're running out of space at those locations. So we're looking for some direction as far as, in 2016, the honorary sign policy changed the time limit to 10 years. So we're looking for direction as far as what do we do with these signs that were put up prior to the change in policy? Do we enforce that 10-year time limit and start taking down signs? Some of these signs are, fairly notable people that have lost loved ones, things like that. They're very personal things. And we're looking for some directions. We would recommend that we do start taking them down just because we're running out of real estate. But if we do so, we want to make sure that the consensus with council is that everyone is okay with taking this step, and to confirm the manner in which we take that step. So we're looking for a little discussion and direction.
Open it up for comment by City Council. Alderman Glenn.
Yeah, I just want to state the fact that when we first created this, we knew that there was going to be a lot of applications over a period of time. We knew it wasn't going to be the first time, and that was it. And so I think it was always in the back of everybody's mind that we would have to have a drop dead date on all these signs of when they would come down for the next ones. I've always felt that if we had too many signs out there, it takes away from those that do get the signs now, because they don't stand out once you have them everywhere and anywhere. It's a special honor that at the time that it goes up, more so than any other time, that you are honoring the person whose name is on that sign. And after a while, it gets just passed up that nobody basically sees it from the public. Yes, those that were near and dear to the person will always remember it, but there has to come a time where they have to come down and make room for the next.
Any other comments by council? Alderman Strack, go ahead.
So I say we take them down and make a mural out of them. We've been talking about trying to find a mural or something to be able to decorate some buildings in town. What a great way to do it. They stay up and we just use them. We repurpose them into a location where we can display them all, or a large group of them.
Alderman Santee?
Yeah, thank you, Alderman Strack. I do I like that idea, because I was thinking that we do something in regards to at least handing off the street signs to the families, a documentation with it, and presenting that so they can keep it. If we do something like a mural, where we base it somewhere in town where we know we can expand it. Maybe it's indoors somewhere at City Hall. I don't know, but and actually put the ball in their court to say, well, I don't know, I guess we could duplicate the sign, but have the sign handed off to them or place them in as part of the mural, or one of the two. But I do like that idea. I just want to make sure that we do note it to the honorable sign people, make sure they have it, send them out a nice, send them out a letter, explaining everything. And yeah, we go from there. But I do like that thought or that option. Thank you.
Any other council members?
Mayor,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, did you say Alderman Clapp?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, all I was going to say is I think we should start taking them down. I think as far as a letter of explanation and everything else, and I think is a great idea. I think it's a superb idea of what Alderman Strack had said. It's a great idea. I was thinking the same route as Alderman Santee was stating. But I think more than anything else, we should have a game plan of what we're going to do, and then we send a letter so that we can tell them that, yes, it's coming down, but this is what is going to happen, and that, they're not just going to get chucked or stored away forever or whatever, that we actually have a game plan.
All right.
Harding?
Sorry.
Hey, just real quick, I'm definitely in the minority of this. I don't mind if the signs stay up forever for 100 years. I don't care. I've seen it in the city of Chicago where people do share the same streets where they've made an impact on. But I also do like Sean or Alderman Strack's idea too. I could get on board with that. But my first inkling is keep the sign up for as long as we can. So that's my 2 cents.
Mayor, can I just add from a downtown perspective? you know, there are a lot in our downtown area, and it becomes extremely cumbersome to try to manage that. We're looking at a streetscape program, and specifically with the signage. And so just trying to manage each of those intersections and trying to keep as clean, present a nice, attractive look as we can. You know, clutters is probably not the right word, but it does get to be a lot when you have, you know, three or four signs just in one intersection denoting this portion. If you go this way, it's this honorary street. And if you go this other way, it's this other honorary street. It's been difficult, and just for us to try to keep it clean. And so from a downtown perspective, we certainly would be in favor of something along the line of Alderman Strack's idea. I think that's a great idea.
All right. Troy?
Alderman
Devine,
Devine.
go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
I agree with Alderman Strack's idea. That's a great idea. So I'm all for that.
Okay, so I think we've got our direction. So we'll figure out a place to publicly display as a mural, and then we can work on a nice letter that the mayor can hand sign, right? And reach out to the families and just make sure that you know, even though it may be tough for them, that we're at least doing it in a dignified manner.
Awesome. That sounds good. Thanks, Troy.
Thank you.
Alderman Strack, go ahead.
Just a quick question. Troy, are you looking for direction on the 10-year in the ordinance as well, or where did we leave that? Because I think that was part of the conversation that we just haven't gotten to yet.
So the 10-year is in the new policy. So that's fine. So I don't think we have to change the policy. As the big thing was, I just wanted people to understand where we're at with the time limit, the previous iteration of the policy, and just making sure we're all on board with taking them down. So I think we've got good direction.
Okay, great.
Thanks, Sean. All right, perfect. All right, discussion item 7B is a review of the honorary street sign applications for 2022. Troy, you want to go ahead and get us started on this one?
Sure, thanks again. So just for all of you who haven't been on the council too long, these used to be considered at committee. So now we're having to do it at the council level. I guess as a committee of the whole sort of concept. We received 5 applications last year. The policy reads that we're to consider the applications in the first quarter of the calendar year. So these were the applications that were received in 2022. We'll be honoring at least 3 of them in this year or so they were received in 2021. We'll be honoring them this year in 2022. So the applications are to honor Gary and Mary Goff, Lori Wilhelm, Pam Altoff, Suzanne Cannon, and Bill Effling. And before there's any deliberation, I believe we have some people in attendance who wanted to speak on behalf of the applications. So if anybody is here for that, could you make yourselves known?
Yes, Pam Goff.
Speak up.
Pam Goff.
Pam Goff, Dan Goff, Gary Goff. Can you hear us?
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Pam.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you can see us. Anyway, my name is Pam. I'm Gary's daughter. I'm the one who submitted the application. A couple of things, because I submitted it about a year ago. I don't remember if I included in the application that when Gary inherited the water division and he became superintendent, he was very instrumental in reducing the amount of iron in the city's water flow. And then he also was very instrumental in bringing into the realm the fluoride and chlorine levels and keeping them consistent. And he got state recognition consistently on that. So don't remember if I had included that into the application form, but he was recognized for that quite consistently. So,
And Marcy did sewing
when,
for a lot of the city
and when,
back in the day.
when McHenry was a small town, she was one of the few seamstresses that was able to do bridals, and she did quite a few. Actually, she did Pam Altoff's wedding and Sue Lowe's wedding, and a lot of the Altoff weddings as well. So a couple of things, and probably drove a lot of your kids to school on school buses. So if not you, perhaps. So just a few extra little things that I can't remember if I put them in there or not. So thank you for your consideration of the application, and thank you.
I'd like to add about Gary Goff, Pam, just so you're aware, we are still receiving that fluoride award. So we are carrying your father's torch for 20
thank you.
years
Thank you.
now.
Yeah, he's sitting right here. So I don't know if he can see us or not, but yeah, he's listening right here. So good. I'm glad that legacy carries on. So excellent.
Oh.
It's okay.
Would anyone else like? Thank you very much. Would anyone else like to speak on behalf of any of the honorees on this street signs?
This is Christopher Bennett. I don't know if you can hear me, Mayor, or not.
Yes, Chris. How are you, sir?
Wonderful. I have the same problem you do. I haven't got a photo, a picture, but I can see you well. I did submit for Pamela Eltoff. I'd like to just say a few words that she has served our community, not only as a city clerk. She was elected the first female mayor of McHenry. She served as a senator, and she was also the first female from McHenry County to hold that position. And once she retired, she went on to serve as she is today at the McHenry County Board. And I believe her contributions represent the city, county, and state are worthy of this. I'd also like to thank the mayor and the council for even having this program, because as was mentioned, it does draw your attention to the streets in town. And I think it's a way of sharing the people who have lived in this community their whole lives, some way of recognition. Well, I submitted for Pamela Eltoff. I'd like to also mention about Gary Goff, because he was an assistant fire chief in the McHenry Township Fire Protection District and served the city well for many, many years. I happened to be a captain underneath his position, so he did a great job. And thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Chris. Is there anyone else? All right, see none. Okay, Troy.
Yeah, and so just so council is aware, everyone was reached out to last week just to try and get as many people to attend to make sure they had their opportunity to speak. There were just a few scheduling conflicts. So, and while we're at this, council, it's on the front page of the agenda supplement. Did anyone have any questions regarding the locations? Gary Mary Goff is going to be at Friend Avenue and Church Street. Laura Wilhelm is at Main and Green. So that's actually a location that I believe there is a current conflict. I was working with the applicant, Alderman McClatchy, on an alternate location. But if we do start taking signs down, that might be one that we may actually be able to stick to. And then Pam Altoff is at Junie Lane and John Street. Suzanne Cannon is at Front and High. Dalzell Jewelers is obviously very near that location. And then Bill Effling is North Friend Avenue and Maple Street. Any questions with regard to the locations? Okay, and then the last thing is the supplement is written for 3 approvals. That is the policy. We went through this last year, if you all remember, and we ended up approving 5. We are recommending 3, but if council has a different direction, we can also go that as well.
Any
Santee?
Any council member? Oh, Alderman Santee, go ahead. Sorry, you're on a different screen.
I must be way over the corner of your screen.
No, yeah, you're on the third page. Sorry.
Okay, third page. So I deserve to be on a
3. We're either going to pick 3 of the 5 or approve all 5 as we did last year.
I deserve to be on page 3. I get it. Okay, so look, I'm willing to go with the 5. I would just like to get direction or just get everybody on the council. I know Sue is not here tonight, but at least the 6 that are present to say, okay, can we look at this from this day forward to where it's a first come, first served basis. And if it's 3 a year, it's 3 a year. And understanding that the 4th person that walks up to the main desk with their application, they're notified of that immediately. And when an application comes to us, because when I read the dates, I see, Mr. Golf came in in May, and then there were more days sprinkled in September. If we have some kind of date or policy, almost like when we're submitting for our ballot position, ladies and gentlemen, is that it's a first come, first serve to be, placed at the top of the ballot. And if you're one of the first three, if we decide on going with 3 a year, then everybody knows that. Staff knows that. We know to mention that to the people that present the applications. They can always reapply for the next year. I would just like to hear what everyone else has to say on that policy. Or is there a different number? Let me know. Tell me why. Thank you.
Derek, did you have something to say?
Alderman Glab had his hand up before I did. So,
Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, all I wanted to say is I just think we need to pick 3. That's what our policy is. And as far as just going with the first 3 that are submitted every year, no, because you could have somebody that might have done one thing for the city 25 years ago, and yet you have others that were submitted afterwards that are very stellar, much more stellar residents in the city of McHenry, and yet they're going to wait. No, I think the way we do it right now, we take the applications, we pick the best 3 that we feel. Yes, it's difficult to say, I'm sorry, but you'll have to wait and resubmit it the following year. But I think we need to make those decisions here tonight and bring it forward to be voted on the next meeting.
Thank you. Alderman McClatchy?
Yes, I like Alderman Santi's concept, but I hate to see this turn into Black Friday and people lined up out the door. I'm leaning towards more of a lottery. Say you get 10 people and you pick 3 and that's it. And then those 3 come before the city council and we can approve them. If somebody nominates their pet squirrel on Birch Lane, we can throw that out. But I think we need to do it fair. And this is a tough decision to make. I mean, we're talking about families and friends and everything. So I like what Vic is going at, but I'd hate to see that, that line at the front door.
If I may, Mayor.
Alderman Santi, go ahead.
And my point is that we've got, to stick with the number. If we do a lotto, I could see us in the future doing that if we have to. But my point is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, people on this council, Troy, didn't we approve these because they went through our committee? Then we'd approve them at the council level, but we approved them on an individual basis. Where if something came in April, it was in the next committee meeting, and then we usually got it to council within 60 days or so. So it got approved. And then if another application came in 3 months later, it went into the committee and then it came to the council and got approved. I could see that happening because if you just look at this year, okay, we're approving Mr. Golf in the month of June, let's say. Then we're approving the second one, Laura Wilhelm in the month of October. Where when they come to us, we approve it or we don't approve it. Alderman Glad came up with an example. Alderman McClatchy came up with an example. If it's not right, we don't approve it. And that means that application is still available for that year. That's what I'm trying to, that's the way I was looking at it, because I recall that we've done them on an individual basis before, and we haven't clumped them into one meeting. And now, we're fighting over a number of 3 to 5 again, as we did last year. Thank you.
So if whatever comes out of this meeting, this is not the approval of, we're going to pass resolutions at a later date. Okay. And as far as the history on it, so pre-COVID, they were deliberated on in the first quarter at a Public Works Committee meeting per the policy. So that was historically what was done. I don't remember a time since I've been here, which isn't crazy long, but 6 years now, where we had more than 3, but they were deliberated on at the committee level first quarter, and then they were approved at council, more of a consent.
All at once?
Yeah.
They're all at once.
We got out of cycle during COVID just because scheduling constraints, just different circumstances. We started kind of pushing them as we got them a little bit. That was maybe a bit of an error on our part, but that's what we did. So we're trying to get back to adhering to the old system.
Sure, and I apologize if it is listed as a discussion item. So then you're telling us, Troy, that it will come back to us as an official agenda item to be approved?
Correct. So whatever the outcome is tonight, we will bring them back as resolutions for approval, and then we will start working on scheduling the dates for the presentation and unveiling with the families.
And I would ask that people, please, council members, please, I don't know, give Troy your input, give Derek your input, so that, you know, we can come back with some consensus at a later meeting. Thank you.
Alderman Harding, go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to see all 5 go in this year, and then next year do something like what Vic was saying, or go back to the way it was with the 3 applicants, per year. And, who am I to judge who's a better resident than the next person? I don't do that, but I like to see all 5 applicants this year get in this year, just like what we did last year. I think that's the best and fairest way.
Thank you. Any other council members? Alderman Glenn?
Yeah, I just want to say that, this isn't the first time, like Alderman Santee said, as far as we've had discussions of 3 or 5. And I think one time we broke down and we went 5. And you know what? We said one time and we'd never do it again. And here we are doing it again. I think we created a policy. We have a system of how it was to be done. Why are we taking and veering from that system? Is it because of the fact we don't want to make that hard decision here at the council, or what? But I mean, you take the applications, however many you get, you take and you select 3. Each council member gets to pick 3. Each council member could pick three names and submit them to Troy, and Troy can come back and say, okay, this is how many of this name or that name were selected, and those are the 3 that go in. If the council doesn't want to do it here at the council meeting and bring up the 3 that they recommend, then just submit them to Troy and individually, each one of us, 3 names, and he could tally it up. But I think that's the way we should go. I don't think we should veer again, because I mean, what good is it to have a policy if we don't follow it and we keep changing it all the time?
Is there any other, Alderman Devine, go ahead.
Yeah, 2 years in a row, we've been presented with 5 people. All of them deserve to be honorary street signs. Why don't we just change the 2016 policy to 5 and go with that? Last year we agreed to 5. All these people deserve it. So that's just my thought.
Alderman McClatchy, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to hear Troy's take on that. Are we going to run out of real estate one of these days?
Well, with the direction as far as the time, adhering to the 10-year time limit, that'll help a lot. I guess changing the policy from 3 to 5, I would like to think at a certain point we'll hit a number that is not going to be exceeded. But for the sake of argument, it's absolutely possible that we could set the limit at 5 and we could get 7 applications next year, and we'd be having the same conversation.
Troy, so this is all I was going to say. Is my 2 cents on this is that, really the issue becomes the number of signs at any one location, right? I mean, that's where we're starting to get some concerns. Not necessarily the number of signs all over McHenry, but the number of signs at any one location.
Well, also just the scheduling aspect of it too. The mayor does attend each of them. We make the arrangements and coordinate. So we handled 5 last year in stride, so that's obviously not a problem. But all the people that want to attend, because some people do attend basically all of them, and the scheduling part of it it can get to be a lot for people that are very involved at other community events and appearances and stuff.
I guess what I was getting at is if it's a combination of a time limit now, reimposing or going back to a 10-year time limit, and we limit the number of signs at any one location. The combination of those would be able to tell somebody, I'll pick Municipal Drive and Green Street, right? That we're limiting it to 2 per location or whatever the number is that we want to come up with. That if someone wants to apply for Green and Municipal, there's already 2 there, and that's our policy. Then I'm sorry, but you have to pick a different location because that one already has 2. So if it's a combination of time limit and the number of signs, maybe that helps alleviate the number of signs at any one location. If that's a concern of ours, which I am hearing that it is also.
It would definitely help last year. Last year there were 2 or 3 duplicate locations. This year there's only 1, which based on dates may go away.
That's all. That's all I have.
Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, if we were to take and decide to go to 5 instead of 3, then I would say we would reduce the amount of years down to 5 years instead of 10. But I could tell you right now that the more signs that we approve per year, we tend to downgrade the honor of having that sign in the first place. I mean, if it's going to wind up with so many signs, then it isn't as big of an honor as it is to give a person a sign to where they're very limited. I think it's a bigger honor that way.
So from what I'm hearing, the majority thinks that we should go with 5. Is that? I think that's what I'm getting out of this. Strack, Alderman Strack, Devine, yes. McClatchy.
Yes.
Question, Mayor.
Yes, go ahead.
So that's 5 this year, and then from now on, it's going to be 3, right? Is that what we're talking about?
The last meeting, that's what it was when we changed this. It was supposed to go to 3. Now we're going back to 5, which I don't care either way. If you guys approve 5, all of you have to be at all 5 of them like I do. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's up to you guys what you guys want to do, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, if you guys want to go with the 5 and then we can revisit it next year, I guess the ball's in your guys' court. Alderman Strack. Go ahead.
I have to say that I'm in agreement with Alderman Glab on the watering down when we make this number too big, that the honor isn't the same.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely agree that we can't have multiple signs on the same street because it is certainly just going to water that down. I love all the applications. I'd love to approve them all and have one on every street in town. But I think the ultimate spot is it's managing it. And Public Works has got to manage it. We've got to be there for it. And the honor is the honor. And I have to say that I'm going to step with Alderman Glab on this one and say that 3 is probably the right number. And I guess as we start to look at how many of those signs are at their 10-year expiration and they start to come down because I don't know what that number looks like, maybe I would feel differently, but I'm not sure 5's the right answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's on board for 3?
For this year or for next year? Starting next year. This year. Okay.
This year. Yeah. All right. So 3. Well, I got pages to go through. All right. So 3 of you. Really? You guys are killing me. Could someone change the way it's going with this? Oh my gosh. The biggest thing for me, I'll just give my 2 cents. I think having 2 signs at one location is just really odd to me. I don't know if there's something that we can do where we can just put a restriction where there's only 1 sign at one location. I just think that it just looks better. Having 2 signs there, I don't know. I've never really liked that, but that's just my personal opinion. I'm in favor of 3, but I just think the honorary, you know, I just think it's more of an honor versus just anyone sending in applications. Not that all 5 of these don't deserve it, but I think we do have to kind of put a restriction on it a little bit to make it feel more special than just all these applications coming in. Because Troy was right. If 7 come in, Troy and I have talked about this. You'll want to approve all 7 because you don't want to put someone on the spot where they're not going to get it. But there's always next year too, you know. And there's certain circumstances where you want to approve it that year versus waiting another year, and that's where it falls in your court to approve it or not at that point. So I think we go for 3. That's my personal opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Alderman Devine.
I'll compromise and agree to 3.
All right, so we're going to go to 3. So Troy, that kind of gives you the direction at this point.
We'll still need to select 3 out of this group of 5, though.
Do we want to do that tonight?
We can.
Or do you want to, or can we put it on the agenda for all 5 and then vote on them separate? Yeah, I don't know how you do that. Yeah. Okay, I guess you're right. You kind of have to have an idea of.
Right. You have to invite.
Okay, so I guess each council member, maybe we'll go into a little break here for a minute or 2 if you guys want to take the time to go through those and pick your 3. And then I could call on each individually and we'll go ahead and tally those up. Troy, does that work?
That works for me.
I don't know. That just seems like an easy way to do it.
No, it's fair. It's basically in real time doing what Alderman Glab suggested.
Okay. So go ahead and have a minute or so, and I'll call on each of you here shortly. Okay. We're good to go. We'll start off, Frank McClatchy.
Thanks.
I'll start.
I would submit Pam, Gary, and Lori.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Santee.
2 jump off the page, Gary and Gary Goff and Pam Eltoff, 1 and 2, whatever. And then my 3rd one, I was just looking at history and what the whole family has done in over 75 years now, I believe. My 3rd would be Suzanne Cannon.
Thank you. Alderman Strack.
Gary, Pam Eltoff, and Sue Cannon as well.
Thank you. Alderman Devine.
Gary Marcy, William Effling, and Lori Wilhelm.
Thank you. Alderman Glab.
Yeah, Gary Goff, Pam Eltoff, and Bill Effling. And I just wanted to state the fact that someone had made the mention that, oh, the family did this and the family did that. It's not the family. We're looking at the one individual person on this, and that's what we should be looking at.
All right, Alderman Harding.
It's going with Bill Effling, Pam Eltoff, and Gary and Marcy Golf.
All right, thank you. I think I got everybody. Is that right? I know Sue's not here.
Yeah.
Okay.
The problem is it looks like you have a tie for third.
Mayor?
Yeah. Yeah.
I suggest that
go ahead.
you wait and get a hold of.
I'll get a hold of Sue.
Yeah, I think she should have a participation in it, and then you'll maybe have a tiebreaker.
Right. No, that's fine. So I'll reach out to Sue here in the next 24 hours. And what I'll do is I'll send an email to council, and then we'll go ahead and move forward to bringing that to council for a vote. Troy, are you good with that?
We do.
I mean, I could try to get her on the phone now if you'd like.
I was totaling them. We do have Gary Goff with 6, Pam Altoff with 5, Bill Effling with 3.
Oh yeah.
Lori Wilhelm has 2, and Suzanne Cannon has 2. So the top 3 would be.
Yeah, so we're good. We do have a top 3.
1, 3, 5.
Yep. Gary Goff at 6 votes. Pam Altoff for 5, and then William Effling with 3. So we do have the 3.
Okay.
All right. So we're good to go. I want to congratulate those 3, Lori Wilhelm and Suzanne Cannon. Obviously, those applicants, if you could go ahead and turn those in for next year, that would be greatly appreciated. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and bring this to council for a vote at the next meeting. Alderman Santi, you have a question?
I just want to make sure that Troy and staff understand that maybe we should definitely have the appropriate statements for the people when they deliver their applications, that if moving forward, it's a maximum of 3, so that when application 4, 5, 6 comes in, they understand it. And I guess if this is the way we're going to do it every year, then they can get out there and run their own little candidacy to get the votes from the council to get their honorable street signs that year, or move it to the next year. So be it.
Alderman Glab, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to expand on something you stated. Congratulations to the 3, but actually congratulations to all 5. The fact that there were people out there that thought of them to submit their names in the first place. I think it's an honor just to be submitted.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Alderman McClatchy.
Thanks. Yeah, I concur with Alderman Glab. I think it's a 5-way tie. I mean, it's hard to really split hairs in this, but we had to do something. So glad that's over.
All right. Moving on to the next agenda item, staff reports. Is there any new staff reports this evening? Bill?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody's aware. I did send out an email today. Late last week, before I was able to submit that as part of the packet, we received a final draft of a site plan for Miller Point Park, including the tiny shops or the McHenry Riverwalk shops. So if you haven't seen that, please check your email and contact me if you have any questions on the site plan or anything regarding that.
Thank you, bro. And I'll kind of piggyback on that a little bit. Obviously, Rise Up Foundation is looking to raise funds for this project. We'll be making an announcement for the headliner next Friday, this Friday at 2 p.m. for the headliner for Country, Splash in the Country. So very excited about this project. If you have any concerns or questions for either Bill or I, please reach out to us as soon as possible, just so we can talk through that. So thank you, Bill. Derek, any other staff reports? No. I have no mayor's report. City council comments. See none. All right. Motion to adjourn. Alderman McClatchy.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Second, Alderman Santi.
I will second that motion.
Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Alderman McClatchy.
Yes.
Alderman Santi.
Yes.
Alderman Glab.
Yes.
Alderman Harding.
Yes.
Alderman Strack,
Yes.
Alderman Devine.
Yes.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you, council. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Good night.